In this episode of Supply Chain Now Radio, Jason Moss, CEO of Georgia Manufacturing Alliance, discusses all things manufacturing in Georgia.
And we're moving to continuing our Braves analogies here. Our cleanup hitter today, at least for our purposes, on Supply Chain Now Radio is our friend and network colleague, Jason Moss, founder and CEO of the Georgia Manufacturing Alliance. Good morning, Jason.
Good morning, Scott. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you here today. We had to rip you away from a plant probably, or several plants, from Albany to Augusta to Savannah, huh?
Oh, yeah.
The plant tour is an important part of your operation, right?
That is a critical component of what we do. Yeah.
So, first off, I want to thank Jason and the GMA, biggest supporters of a lot of things that Apex Atlanta drives and Talent Stream drives, veteran projects. GMA hosted an event at the Veteran Empowerment Organization in Atlanta about 2 weeks ago. You've also named VEO as your charity sponsor of the year, where you're contributing a certain portion of your revenue. Supply Chain 101, we put Jason Moss and Gail Moore around a gaggle of school kids talking supply chain.
Oh, man, that was an amazing event. If you ever have the opportunity to do that, I would encourage you to jump on that.
And Jason and Gail hit it out of the park and really spent, I think, a full day out of their time. Both of them at Gail was down in Douglas County, and Jason, where were we at that day? We were at Marietta.
Over Marietta.
Tritt Elementary. And then, of course, the Joint Industry Association of Georgia, which Jason has been spearheading. He was a big proponent, big supporter that helped make the Joint Industry Association initiative at the Georgia Logistics Summit happen, where we brought 7 industry associations together to exhibit and partner and promote the logistics community as well. Mm-hmm. All right. So with all of that said, we've gone through your portion of your background. So let's talk about what we've got coming up on October 10th, the Georgia Manufacturing Summit.
Yeah. The Georgia Manufacturing Summit it really lines up with the things that we do for GMA year round. I mean, the focus of the Georgia Manufacturing Alliance is to help support manufacturers across the state. And the way that we do that is we provide plant tours, networking events, and educational sessions. In 2017, we had a little over 3,000 people attend events that we hosted, and we did 115 events statewide. We had the opportunity to tour some pretty amazing
facilities. How many events?
115.
Wow.
Believe it or not, we've already done 55 events in 2018 and had about 1,400 people attend some of those events. And we've had the opportunity to tour some the reason that we do that is we allow industry professionals to be able to see world-class manufacturing live and in action, and so that they're able to see that world-class manufacturing, see ideas and concepts, best practices, see those in action, and implement some of those in their own facilities, and allow industry professionals to be able to build that peer group of other companies and other leaders so that they've got a sounding board where they can talk to each other and kind of build that community of manufacturers. So
we got some big news to talk about.
Yeah, we got some
right here on Supply Chain Now Radio.
Yeah, really cool stuff lining up as far as the summit. So the summit, this is the 5th year that we've hosted the Georgia Manufacturing Summit. The first year we had it, the summit supports all manufacturers, regardless of the size or regardless of the industry, but we line our keynotes up based on a specific industry, a sector in manufacturing. The first year was transportation. Our kickoff year, we had the CEO of Bluebird Bus, Phil Horlock, and Randy Jackson from Kia were our keynotes, and they just knocked it out of the park. First year event, we had a little over 300 people attend that. It was a huge success. We've been able to grow it since then. The second year, we were based around companies that manufacture products in the construction industry. So we had Beaulieu Carpet and Southwire were our keynotes. Last year, it was around the food and beverage industry. We had top executives from both Coca-Cola and Chick-fil-A, and supply chain leaders in both of those organizations. This year, we're going to base our keynotes around the aerospace industry and the breaking news. Breaking news today.
Sound effects.
That's pretty good. Yeah,
that's what Jason's job is.
Bingo. The breaking news we just confirmed yesterday. Eric over at Thrasher Aircraft is going to be joining us as one of our keynotes. We're still finalizing the second keynote, but at Thrush, they manufacture crop dusters. Oh, excuse me, they've corrected me a few times on that. They don't make crop dusters. They make agricultural aviation products.
That's right.
And they push out about 50 planes a year. They push out a plane a week, and about 70% of all the planes that they manufacture, they roll in steel and roll out planes.
Wow.
It is fascinating.
Did you do a tour there?
I have personally taken the pre-tour. It's funny. I called Eric about this, and he's the director of marketing, executive VP over there. And I called him and I said, "Man, we're really interested." Little backstory: my cousin Ben Gleaton is a pilot for the Georgia Forestry, and they've made 3 planes that they're building a set for, and they're using them for firefighting. And so my cousin Ben gets to drive like the Ferrari on Formula One day, right? I mean, he's living
agricultural aviation.
Oh yeah, of agriculture. Well, this is in forestry aviation, so he's doing that piece. So he's dropping water on fires all around the state, and these guys are building these planes. And I didn't know too much about Thrush, but when Ben told me the story, he said, "I got to go see these guys. I got to talk to them." I called Eric up. We talked to him a little bit about it, and I said, "We'd love to do a tour." And he said, "Well, I'm not real sure if our place is really tour worthy." And I'm like, "Dude,
are you kidding me?
You make airplanes out of just tube steel." And, that's so he's like, "You seriously, I want you to come down and make sure that this is going to be, worthy of a tour." And I'm like, "I'll be right down." So I had the opportunity to go down. So we're putting them on the schedule. We'll be touring them soon.
But how often does that happen where the manufacturer just thinks it's not a big deal, right? But,
almost every time.
But it's always a big deal, isn't it?
Yeah. It blows me away because they see it every day. They're in the shop. They're doing the thing.
It's boring to them.
It's just the same old thing that they've done for 20 or 30 or 50 years. But when we get to go in,
it's the first time.
Yeah, and you get a fresh set of eyes.
Like magic.
Looking at it. It is,
right?
Yeah, kid in a candy store. One of the most fascinating tours, and this takes us way off. I'm chasing a little squirrel here, but one of the most fascinating tours I've ever done was Toto toilets. You might not think that.
Morrow, Georgia,
they bring in like dirt and roll out shiny toilets. And it might not sound fascinating, but it's about 95% automated. We just confirmed them. We'll be doing a tour of them very soon in July.
And we've just confirmed that need's not going away anytime soon.
Right. No.
Right.
Yeah, and if you want to know what a Toto toilet, anytime you go to Atlanta Airport, just look down. You'll be able to see a little TOTO. It's Toto, not Tutu. So just I get cleared up on that.
And then you're doing tours every week, multiple times.
So we do. We've got 7 chapters around the state. Our goal is to try to do a plant tour in each of the chapters each month. We don't always do that, but we do. I mean, our schedule is rich with.
What's the personal best number of tours in a month?
I did 4 in one day. And actually, the best one that we did
with a clone.
Yeah. Mike McGraw and a photographer, a buddy of mine, Brad Shoemake, and we did the Georgia Manufacturing Fly-In 2 years ago. We did 13 plant tours in 3 days. Dude, it was awesome. We had the most fun. We got to see some amazing manufacturers. Right. And it was just us. We weren't bringing a crowd with us. But and when I talk about that, people are like, "Man, I missed that. I would have loved to have plugged in." We have the opportunity now with some of the stuff that we're doing in the month of July for anybody in the state of Georgia. If you like watching the show How It's Made, for consumers to go in and see how manufacturing is really done. Because I believe we've talked about workforce just a little bit, but manufacturers have issues with workforce, finding good people to be here and come to work. I believe we need to make manufacturing sexy again. And the only way that we're going to be able to do that is to change that perspective.
Some awareness.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, people think about manufacturing as that dirty, dangerous, dead-end job that you do when you can't do something else. But when somebody goes through and walks through a manufacturing facility, it changes their perspective forever and gives them the opportunity to get excited and think about manufacturing as a potential career path. So that's one of the reasons that we're doing as much stuff in July as we are, and we're opening those tours up to the general public. Most of the tours that we host really are focused around helping the manufacturing professional take the tour, but now we're going to be opening it up to the general public, which is that's going to be fun.
Now, remind our listeners how many manufacturers there are in Georgia.
Yeah, it's great. A lot of people ask me, do we still make things in Georgia? Right. But that's really cool. When I had an opportunity to speak at Kennesaw State the other day and ask a group of graduate students about how many they thought that were made, how many manufacturers we had. One gal stood up and said, "I think we have 50. And there was a little guy over in the corner who said, "Man, no, we got to have at least 100 manufacturers in Georgia." And the most anybody in the room could conceive that we had manufacturers in the state of Georgia were 300. Now, this is a group of kids that are about to go in the workforce.
Right.
And the reality is we have over 10,000 manufacturing facilities that employ over 440,000 people every day in manufacturing.
So this is what you're illustrating there. Part of that is a huge awareness gap, and which is one of the reasons why we're taking teams of volunteers like Jason and Gail and all these folks that really want to move the needle. and plant seeds of awareness with third and fourth and fifth graders, so we can correct these, at least some of these misconceptions early on, rather than waiting into college, collegiate level, or first couple years out of college. So appreciate your support there. So I don't want to leave. We've got a couple things going on, just a few things going on at GMA. We talked about the Georgia Plant Tour series in July, 18 plant tours.
Yeah, 18 plant tours in 18 days.
Woo. And then what's happening on June 20th?
June 20th, we found that we need to help bring awareness of the products that are made in Georgia. I just said we have over 10,000 manufacturers, and we make tons of things. The average consumer can't name 3 products that are made in Georgia. Think about that. How many products can you name by brand name that you know are manufactured right here in the state of Georgia? Average consumer, all the surveys that I've done, I offer a $100 bill. Usually when I ask that question,
I've won $700 from Jason.
I learned to quit asking that in front of Scott because he knows a few. But
that's his second job.
Right.
Just following you around answering that question.
He's doing pretty good. But when you pop that $100 bill and you ask the question, how many products can you name? I give $100 to the first person that can name 10 products. The rooms go silent. You do a room full of Chamber of Commerce or a business.
Chamber of Commerce? Really?
Rooms will go silent.
Shocking.
We love the chambers. We encourage people to join their local chamber.
London could knock out 10 just in your office.
Got that right now. So, again, to bring more awareness of that, what we did was 5 years ago, we went to Governor Deal and asked him to help us bring more awareness of the products that are made here in Georgia. And the proclamation is a proclamation declaring July Buy from Georgia month. It's a whole month of celebrating products that are made right here in our backyard. We've done a few things over the years trying to bring the promotion. We did a video promotion one time, and we did some Facebook stuff, odds and ends. But this year we finally got the traction. We've got all the pieces put together. And this year we're going to be doing those 18 plant tours in 18 days, so the general consumer can come plug into that. But on June the 20th, Governor Deal, for the 5th year, will be presenting to us and the leadership team the proclamation declaring July Buy from Georgia month. So if anybody in the manufacturing space wants to join us on the steps of the Capitol, it's really cool to be there at the Capitol, get a photo with the governor. GMA is not political in any way. We don't do any lobbying. We're not into that space.
Thank goodness.
Once a year we go to the Capitol, and we got a great group that does lobbying for manufacturers. That's just not us. The Georgia Manufacturing Alliance is focused on helping support manufacturers through building the community. And if you're interested and want to be part of that day, the photo that we'll take that day will be on the cover of the Georgia Manufacturing Directory. It's been a bestseller on Amazon. So, what are the odds of you being able to get on the cover of a bestseller? We'll help you do that. If you want to come hang out with us June the 20th. Yeah, it's free to attend, but you do have to register online at GeorgiaManufacturingAlliance.com. And there's some information of not only that event, but a variety of the other events that we host around the state.
GeorgiaManufacturingAlliance.com.
Lots of letters.
Lots of letters, but great partner, great collaborator, huge advocate for the manufacturing industry across the state of Georgia, and really, for that matter, across the country. You invest in industry in Georgia, you have a ripple effect that goes throughout the region, throughout the country. So, Jason, appreciate what you and GMA is doing for our industry, and of course from an Apex Atlanta and Talent Stream perspective. Okay, so we're going to close on a couple of other opportunities for our audience members. The Joint Industry Association of Georgia Networking Hour on May 31st. We talked about that effort that pulled together at MODEX and the Georgia Logistics Summit. A bunch of us get together after the work day at Keegan's in Smyrna. For more information, hit us up at evp@apexatlanta.org. Next month on Supply Chain Now Radio, we already let the cat out of the bag with Kevin Heath, the Chief Procurement Officer with Georgia Pacific, set to join us along with Ben Harris with the Metro Atlanta Chamber, talking about Point A. That's going to be in June. Also in June, Mayor Ronnie Johnson of Covington and Chairman Marcelo Baines of Newton County is set to join us to talk about the Georgia Tech LEAP program, which is all about addressing the supply chain talent pipeline. Jason mentioned we've all mentioned workforce here today, how critical a component that is. And then finally in June's a big month. Team One Logistics CEO Paige Siplon and Sunny Delight Vice President Kevin Singletary are joining us for our traditional podcast episode towards the end of June. So Lee and Stone, big shows to come. Webinars on tap. We talked about lip service leadership. We're going to be talking about omni-channel fulfillment, business metrics, reverse logistics, much more. Big thanks to our sponsors, Apex Atlanta and Talent Stream. If you want more information on anything we chatted about today, check us out at avp@apexatlanta.org.